making the right choice or the wrong choice. You're choosing between good options. The most important thing to do is make a choice and then make it right by giving it 100% and not looking back. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Those are some really great tips. I'm going to cover a little bit about the U.S. Bar Exam, and I'll introduce myself. My name is Sarah Crucius. I'm the director of the Graduate and International Programs Office at the University of Southern California Gould School of Law. We're a top 20 law school located in Los Angeles, California. We offer a variety of general and specialized master's law degrees. We also offer certificate specializations within those degrees and bar tracks for the New York, California, Washington, and District of Columbia bar exams. All of our applicants are considered for scholarship and housing stipends, and there's no additional application required. So if you're interested in learning more about USC or any of the information that we cover about the bar exam, I hope you'll join me in our Zoom meeting after this presentation. So I'll just very quickly cover the bar exam. It's one part of the licensing requirements to practice law in the US. And unfortunately, in the US, the practice of law is governed by each individual jurisdiction. So there's no federal bar exam and there's no federal license. What this means is that you generally have to be licensed in the state in which you're practicing to avoid the unauthorized practice of law. There are overall, very broadly, two types of bar exams. One is called the Uniform Bar Exam, or UBE. It's the very exact exam that's tested in multiple jurisdictions. And there's also state-specific exams, which may or may not include portions of the UBE. Typically, the format of the exams include essays, performance tests, and multiple choice. The subject matter can vary between the state-specific exams and the UBE, and my colleagues will discuss more about the UBE and the California Bar Exam in detail. The exam is offered in a regular non-pandemic year at the very last Tuesday and Wednesday in February and July. As a foreign-trained legal candidate, you're eligible to sit for just a select number of jurisdictions bar exams. The most popular are New York and California, but there are some other jurisdictions that are open to foreign-trained legal candidates. If you are interested in sitting for a specific jurisdiction's bar exam and you don't see it listed on this slide, I would recommend visiting the link. It has a lot of really great information about the eligibility requirements across all of the different jurisdictions for the bar and what you might need to be qualified. In terms of the eligibility, so again, because it varies by jurisdiction, it really depends. But in most jurisdictions, as a foreign legal candidate, you will need a first degree in law and most likely some coursework as part of your LL.M. degree. Now, a first degree in law typically means that you've completed all of the educational or training requirements in your country to either sit for the bar exam or practice law if there's no bar. So that means that there's no other stuff that you would need to complete, no other schooling or training before you can take that next step to practice. In terms of the coursework, again, varies by jurisdiction, but usually schools will have coursework to prepare you for a bar exam, particularly the most popular like New York, even if they're located outside of that jurisdiction. So almost all of the law schools that you could get an LM at will allow you to sit for the New York bar. But definitely check your school. So if there's a specific school and bar that you're interested in, please confirm with them to make sure that they have the coursework that will help you prepare. And just a quick note, in case you're considering either a summer program or online courses, not all jurisdictions accept those, or they may have limits. So just something to think about. If you will be sitting for the bar, we recommend starting your preparations really about a year in advance. This gives you time to gather your materials, submit them to the bar, and have them review and confirm your eligibility. The specific process for applying to the bar and registering, again, varies, but most likely you'll have to submit an official transcript from your law school as well as a certificate of good standing if you're licensed to practice, and English translations if the documents are not in English. Once you've submitted these documents to the bar, they'll provide you a conditional eligibility determination, most likely pending some completion of LLM courses in your degree. And then when you're ready to sit for a specific exam, you'll actually apply for that exam date, and the application for the bar typically opens a few months in advance of the exam, which means that in March or April, the application will open for the July bar, and usually in October or November, the application will open for the February bar. And as I mentioned at the beginning, the bar is just one part of the licensing requirements. So depending on the jurisdiction, there may be very substantial licensing requirements that you have to complete in order to get that license to practice, or it might be really straightforward. It really depends. So we recommend doing a little bit of research, especially if you're considering the New York bar exam. They have some of the most significant licensing requirements of all the jurisdictions. Now, you may be wondering, if I sit for the bar exam or I become licensed in one state, how portable is that license or that score? It depends. I'm, for example, licensed in California. California has no reciprocity with any other state, which means I can't go anywhere else and practice. I would have to sit for the bar in a different jurisdiction. And that's typically true for both of these jurisdictions. There is some possibility for UBE score portability among the UBE jurisdictions, but you'll just want to be careful that you meet the eligibility requirements in the transferee jurisdiction to import that UBE score. And my colleague will share a little bit more about what that sounds like. And finally, even though it's a wonderful opportunity to be able to sit for a bar exam in the US, we do recommend that you consider whether actually having a bar exam and taking the bar is the right path for you. Is it going to benefit your professional development? Is it something that will help you either in a career in the United States or when you return to your home country? And also to consider a lot of the costs and benefits. You know, is this going to be a good investment of your time and resources? By choosing to sit for the bar exam, it means that you're necessarily taking time and money away from other things that you could be pursuing. So again, another colleague will cover some more of these considerations to think about when you're debating between whether to pursue a specialized LLM or a bar exam or both. And now I'll turn it over to my colleague to share more about the UBE.
I cannot share my screen. Now I can. Okay. Wonderful. You should all be seeing my screen now. Hello, I am Desiree from Brooklyn Law School in New York. I'm originally from Italy, so I went through the path myself. I came to the United States in 2012. I took the LLM in New York and then sat for the bar exam in New York and became an attorney in New York. And now I work at Brooklyn Law School with the LLM students that would like to do the same. You may already feel a little bit overwhelmed by all these abbreviations that we use, such as UBE. And I remember that when I looked into studying in the United States, I was like, oh my God, what are they talking about? All these abbreviations, it didn't make much sense, but it will eventually make sense the more you hear about it. So I hope we're not freaking you out too much today. So we're going to talk quickly about the UBE, the Uniform Bar Exam. I'm going to not go into too much detail, just give you an overview of what it is. So you've already heard that every state has its own rules with regards to the bar admission. So if you want to get admitted in New York, you will have to look at those rules. If you want to get admitted in California, you will have to look into those rules. And back in the days when you took the bar exam, say in New York, and if you then wanted to practice in a different state, you would have to take the bar exam again. So it's a really big nuisance. So the idea was, why don't we create a uniform system, such as that if you take the bar in one state, that you can take that score into the other state and make the admission in the other state a little bit easier. That's why it's called Uniform Bar Exam. Okay. So the Uniform Bar Exam is organized by the National Board of Law Examiners. And the UBE, the bar exam, is designed to test the knowledge and the skills that a lawyer should possess to practice law. And the uniqueness about the Unified Bar Exam is that the results, the score that you receive, they can be used to apply for admission in other states, so that transfer between states is made more easy. The UBE consists of 3 components. One is the multi-state bar exam, one is the multi-state essay exam, and the other one, the multi-state performance test. You don't need to memorize those words. This is just to give you an idea of what the tests are, and we look into this with more depth. Here you can see the jurisdictions in the United States that have adopted the UBE, and you see that not everything is orange, so that there are still states in the US that haven't adopted the UBE, and California, as my colleague mentioned, is one of them. So if you take the exam in California, you cannot use the score to apply for admission in another state, because California is not part of the UBE just yet. It may change in the future, so it's a good idea to always keep an eye on that map. If you go to the website of the National Board of Law Examiners, you will see that map, and then you can see the update of the states that participate in the UBE. But New York, for example, is part of the UBE. The UBE, the exam, is divided into 2 days. The first day is the multi-state bar exam, which is multiple choice questions, 200 questions in 6 hours. And the topics range from civil procedure, contracts, constitutional law, to real property, sort of covering the basics of law. The second day is a multi-state performance test. It's a simulated case file where you can demonstrate your skills in completing tasks that are usual as an attorney in the practice of law. And finally, you will have a multi-state essay exam where you will have short essays where you will have to write about a legal issue and solve a legal issue. You will get a little case and you will have to solve the legal issue. This is a map of the minimum passing scores. I will not go into the numbers. This is just to show you that there is some variety in the scores, right? Some have a minimum of 260 points, whereas others have a minimum of 276 points. There is something here, though, that I have to add, and this is a specialty that is a problem that is with regards to LLM students. So every state makes their own rules with regards to admission to the bar exam. And not every state allows LLM students to sit for the bar exam. And you saw the list of those that do, for example, California and New York. So even that we have the UBE, we still cannot transfer our score so easily as an LLM student to other states, because we still have to look at the requirements in that state. So the UBE is really very helpful for American JD students that have the first degree in law from the US. It is not that helpful for the LLM students. We will still have to take it, we will still have to take the UBE, but we won't be able to transfer our scores so easily from state to state. That may change in the future, but it depends on each state how much they open it for foreign educated lawyers. When you take the bar exam, let's say in New York, which is an UBE state, you will have 2 pieces to the bar exam. You will have the UBE part that I just showed, and then you will have a jurisdiction-specific law component. In New York, it is the New York bar exam. So you will be tested both on New York law and on federal law. And every state, again, does it differently. This makes the matter kind of complex, because whenever we decide that we want to take a bar exam, we first have to decide where we want to take the bar exam. And then can we look into how the bar exam will actually look. In New York, for example, it will look that you will have one part that is the exam that is organized by New York. It's a New York State exam. It's all online, even beyond COVID, it's all online. And then you take the UBE, but each state can do it differently. So just that you have in the back of your head that you will, in some states, have both the UBE and a state-specific bar exam. So you will have 2 components that you both need to be admitted state. There is a handbook out there that is really helpful in looking for admission to the bar exams in the States. I do not have the link here and I only have 13 seconds left. So afterwards, when I'm in the Zoom meeting, you can ask me for that handbook. I can send it to you, or you can send me an email and then I will send it to you. And you can ask me any questions anytime later. And now I hand it over to my colleague.
Wow, so perfect timing. I mean, the alarm sounded perfectly on time.
I'm German. I'm German.
Fantastic, fantastic. I'm impressed. I have to say I'm impressed. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello. Let me just share my slides as well so we can focus on the California bar exam. Okay, here we are. Here we are. Okay, so you should see my slides. Perfect. So California bar exam, it's a very, very interesting opportunity for each one of you. And let me share some brief information about me and about my institution. My name is Aaron Ghirardelli. I am the Assistant Dean for Graduate Admissions and Visiting Associate Professor at LMU Loyola Law School in Los Angeles. You have my contact information in the slide here, and you will be able to also talk to me after in our separate Zoom session. Loyola Law School, we are based in downtown Los Angeles, very close to major law firms, all the courts, so where really the energy is in Los Angeles. So we have a fantastic LLM program, and again, more than happy to talk to you about the program and the specific details of our offering later during our presentation. But let's focus on the California bar exam. And first of all, I think it's important to focus on the legal market as a way to understand whether it's a good idea for you to consider becoming licensed in California, whether it's a good idea for you to think about practicing law in California. So the legal market in California is huge. So there is a lot of potential, a lot of opportunities. What are the top practice areas? Of course, technology. You have the Silicon Valley, the Silicon Beach in Los Angeles. So technology basically means a lot of work for IP lawyers, for lawyers working in cybersecurity and data privacy, and of course, lawyers working in corporate as well. And Los Angeles, it's the mecca for the entertainment businesses, so of course, also entertainment and real estate. In California, and in particular in Los Angeles, we have offices for some of the major law firms in the world. So some of the names that you see here that I'm sure you will recognize. And also, in addition to having some of the top law firms, we also have some of the top companies in the US, in California. I'm sure you will recognize each and every one of these brands. And most of them, if not every one of them, also have offices in Los Angeles as well. So California bar exam. There are some uniqueness that somehow makes it different from the uniform bar exam that my colleague just described a few minutes ago. The first one is, for example, in theory, you can sit and take the bar exam even without an LLM degree if you are licensed to practice law in a foreign country. Then, would I do that? Would I suggest you to do that? Never, because the California bar is very, very difficult. So I think it's very important to spend at least one academic year in the US, in a law school, to study American law and get ready for the bar exam. And I'm telling you that not only as someone who works with students like you in the US, but someone who basically has done the same journey that you are thinking about doing. Because I graduated from my LLM degree 10, 11 years ago, too long ago. I'm getting old now. And I also successfully took the California and New York bar exam. So again, I can tell you, in theory, you can take the bar exam with no LLM, but don't do it. If you're not licensed to practice in another country, then you need the LLM degree as an eligibility requirement. And in particular, you need an LLM that has a minimum of 4 bar courses. One of them has to be professional responsibility. The important thing to remember about this is that it has to be professional responsibility covering topics of California ethical rules. So if you take a professional responsibility course that doesn't have California rules, they will not satisfy the eligibility requirements of the California bar. In terms of structure, very similar to what my colleague has described before. 2 days, the first day is the written part, the second day is the multiple choice question part. You can see how these 2 days are weighted towards your final grade, so 50% on the written part, 50% on the MBE part, so fairly similar. Also, of course, subjects tested, the ones under the MBE are exactly the same as the ones described by my colleague. A couple of unique things to remember in terms of subjects tested under the essay part in California is community property, very unique subject in California, and also, again, professional responsibility. And I'm underlining that because it's professional responsibility that will include the rules of California professional responsibility, not just the US professional responsibility rules. Once you pass the bar, which is a major challenge for everyone, of course, then becoming licensed to practice in California is fairly simple. You just need to file and complete a moral character application. This takes a long time, so I suggest you to start the application as soon as you come in the US, and then the MPRE, which is an ethical rules exam that you can take before or after the main exam. And let me tell you, once you pass the main California bar exam, the MPRE is going to be a piece of cake. So fairly easy. It shouldn't be something that worries you a lot. A few suggestions on how to prepare for the bar exam in California and in New York and in general for any kind of bar exam. The first thing that I want to share with you is start planning from day one. So as soon as you start your LLM, put yourself in the mindset. I want to take the bar. That's why I'm doing the LLM. And so these are the things that I need to do. In case, of course, you want to take the bar, because the LLM is very helpful also if you don't want to take the bar. Carefully select your LLM courses. So if you come to Loyola, we're going to help you with that. If you go to any other law school from the representatives here, of course, they will also help you with that. But make sure to talk to the director of the program. Make sure to carefully consider which course gives you the best chances of passing the bar, or at least maximizing your knowledge of bar topics. Also, very important, understand the unique challenges that international students have. You're not an American student. You are someone who graduated from a different country. And so the bar exam is not only challenging in terms of learning the subject, but it's also challenging in terms of how you prepare for those subjects, how you write the essay, how you deliver the content. So learn all these challenges and learn how to address these challenges. And also start your bar review course as soon as possible, if possible. And remember, it's a marathon, so pace yourself. So this is my presentation for the California bar. I very much welcome you to join our session later, and my assistant will share the link with you now on the chat room. So if you would like to talk more about the California bar later, make sure to come and see us later. Thank you so much. And now my next colleague. Thank you.
Is it sharing? I'm getting a question. Yes? Okay, great. So hello, everybody. My name is Carrie Field. I'm Director of Graduate and Exchange Programs at University of Connecticut. I also want to just introduce my colleague, Yen Hong. She will be joining the chat room later after the session because I have a family obligation, so I'll be stepping away after this. But I'm so excited to be here. I wish, as I'm sure all my colleagues do, that we were doing this live actually with you, as we have done in previous years when we've been able to be in person. So it's October in the US, and that means it is, I am batting what's called cleanup. So it's baseball tournament time and we're in the tournament. And so when you are kind of the last batter, you're considered cleanup. So this is a great time to consider. We've just given you so much information about taking the bar exam. And there's been so much information about how you need to look at the requirements, both to take the exam and to then be admitted, right? And do you have the educational requirements to be admitted in 50 states and 50 state rules? and that affects the ability of you to take your exam and move around the country. And that is the same. There are similar, less restrictions for JD students, but of course there are still restrictions within the field. But we also want to remind you that it is important part of your education to specialize as well. Wow, I'm having problems with me. My fingers are too fast here. So when you think about your investment in yourself, to go back to the beginning of our presentation, and you're investing in yourself, you have to remember that there's only so much time that you have. I don't know if you recognize Hermione Granger's kind of time turner. That is something that I wish I had in my life, right? So I could turn back and I could do more things. But you have to remember, you're doing this experience and you're launching into this experience. And you want to make sure that it's the right experience for you. You're investing a lot of money in that experience, right? You are about to focus completely on your studies and think about what that is. And we, of course, also want you to have fun and enjoy what you are doing. So if you think about that, what is it that you love to study? All of the schools that were here that are with you tonight, and perhaps you've been at other sessions as well, have amazing programs in so many different areas. You know, human rights, insurance law, entertainment law, we have immigration law. There are just so many options, corporate, business, tax. So what is it that is your passion? What is it that you are really trying to do with your degree? And I think even as you consider the bar exam, you still want to keep in mind your passion for the law, right? What is it that you want to be doing in 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years? Where are the career opportunities that you are currently in? And where are the opportunities where you might want to grow in? Where do you think there will be practice opportunities in the future? And I think, you know, if you are already thinking about publishing and legal scholarship, where are the professors that you might want to work with? Where are they publishing from? What journals are they publishing in? Where are those journals? At which schools? Do the research, right? You want to make the most out of this experience to make the best investment that you can. So whether or not you're looking at a school in Connecticut, right, which is, we always like to say, between New York and Boston, or you're looking at a program in California, in Florida, in Texas, think of all of the factors that are going to make that experience the best for you and make you have the best kind of return on your investment. We know, and as we started this program, we talked to you about the choice that you're making, right? You are putting a lot of time into this investment to get a degree. So think about what your goals are, do your research, because we know there are no bad choices, all right, in all of our programs. Once you get that LLM, you are going to have a number of opportunities available to you. If you want to practice here in the United States, studying for the bar, preparing for the bar, and taking those bar courses is going to put you in the best position to think about that opportunity. If your focus is really to get that specialized human rights, insurance, entertainment degree, and that's what you will plan to be doing because you already work in that area, think about how you can do that, where you can do that, which schools have those clinical opportunities that you might be interested in, which schools are centered in centers where you might be able to get those practice opportunities with firms or with corporations, because every school has those opportunities available for its students. And we all work very hard, all of us on this call, to help students get those opportunities. So there really are no wrong choices. Everything is going to be right. You're all kind of already in the legal field, whether you're still studying law or you're already practicing. You're used to analyzing, evaluating. I think one of the things that we impress upon students is that these are highly individual decisions focused on your own specific situation. And I think the unique thing about LLM programs generally in the United States is that the advisors, as you can tell from being on this call, are so knowledgeable about all of the opportunities that exist for you, both here, like at our own programs, and many times at other programs. We do spend time together. As I said, we miss the fact that we're not in person with you. But because of that, we also travel together and learn about each other's. And our goal is always to make sure that you find the program that is the best fit for you. What are you interested in? Do you really want to focus on the bar exam? Is there a bar track at that school? Are you able to specialize and get the bar exam requirements that you need? So think of all of those decisions as you're looking at different programs, as you're looking at different schools, so that you can really find the best program for you. In all of these decisions, you are about to embark on a big adventure. All of us are here to discuss those options with you, and we all have chat rooms available afterwards to be able to tell you specifically more questions on, like, the Connecticut bar exam, again, if you're interested in that, or on the entertainment law program I know that exists at Loyola, immigration program at Brooklyn, insurance. There, again, we are here for you to answer your questions, to help you kind of embark on this adventure, this journey. And we would look forward to answering your questions. And I'll end there. And I just put this slide up, which has our links for some of us. I don't know, Brooke, you can share in the chat, maybe Desiree, that your link as well. So if there are questions in the chat that have come up, we can answer them. Thank you. So I see a question about energy and environmental law. I do know that we have one of those at UConn. And I'm sure that there are others out there as well.
So yeah, this is Martin Camp. One of the things you have to focus on, I think, with this type of a question is the difference between a specialized LLM, where you get an LLM in energy or environmental, and a general LLM that allows you to concentrate or specialize. And if you're going to take a bar exam, about half of the credits you have to take are necessary for the bar exam, and may make it more difficult to get a specialized LLM. And so in looking at the schools, look to see what tracks they have, what concentrations, what specializations, and what actual LLM degrees, and then see what makes the most sense in terms of whether you want to take a bar exam or not, or what you want to do with the degree or not.
Yeah, and I would like to answer a question that we just got from a student. Says, once completing the LLM and bar exam, how difficult it is to get hired? I know it depends on a range of things, but it will be difficult competing with JD students with a foreign degree plus LLM. And I'm interested in particular in California. So I'll give you my insight, and then of course all my colleagues can also share their feedback as well. So when you think about working in the US, you need to think about two different stages, in my opinion. One is right after the LLM under what is called the OPT, which is a special permit, let's say, that allows you to stay and work in the US for 12 months after the LLM. And then the second stage is basically after the OPT, once the OPT expires. So getting a job during OPT is doable. It's not easy, of course. There is a lot of competition, as you correctly say. I think it's important, if that's your goal, I think it's important to choose not only a school that will give you support in terms of career advice and so on, but also a school that has a strong network in the particular area or field that interests you. For example, if you're interested in entertainment law, Loyola has a lot of alumni in entertainment law, and make sure to carefully select the school based on that. Once OPT expires, then it gets a little bit challenging, because then in order to stay, you truly need to find a law firm who is going to be so strongly in love with you to sponsor you for a visa. So that's kind of the idea. That's my opinion, but I'm curious to see what other colleagues think about that. If any colleague want to say something, I don't want to force you.
No, I think your response is exactly it. Every person and every situation depends on your own background, what you want to do. I mean, law firms are looking for people that have the skill sets and they're bilingual or whatever, but you also have to get a visa and be sponsored, and that can be expensive. And so, I mean, we have alumni who go to work at law firms in Texas or international law firms, and we have others that end up working in businesses or things like that. But it's always a challenge. We have and most of the schools will have dedicated career counselor people to kind of help you through that process. First, you have to get OPT that gives you that opportunity to work and stay. And then after that, it's a function of how you did, what you're interested in, what connections you make, and those sorts of things. One of the things we didn't mention, but I think most of the schools or many schools also will allow you to stay and transfer to the JD program if you did particularly well. And for some of our students, they have done that and gotten credit for a year worth of courses. So they finish the JD, and then you're actually competing with American lawyers as a JD and not as an LLM. And we've had, people have success there going into law firms directly. You're still an international student. It's easier to pass the bar because you have 3 years worth of classes. But you also are competing as a JD student, not just as an LLM.
Yeah, I would just add too, there are some programs that allow you, I know at UConn, you can take a third, if you want to, you could take a third semester to do a full practice-based experience in that third semester. So if you didn't think you could transfer into the JD program, which is another investment in time, you could add a semester on to your program to either fully concentrate on the bar exam requirements or even to have that fully based practice experience, which then could help you make connections to help you move forward.
So if I may, I want to answer a question from Lojina. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, because that's the question that somehow I often get, not specifically like you do, but basically, is it a problem that I still don't know which field of law do I want to specialize in, and is it possible to make through an LLM degree as a single mother and a full-time student that has no family here to help, no outside support, and so on. So it's kind of general, if I can rephrase the question basically is one of the common questions that I guess also my colleagues get, which is how hard it is to do an LLM. Is it something that I will be able to do, like moving to a different country, studying full-time in a different language and so on? And will I be able to support myself? Will I be able to find the money that I need to pay for the LLM and so on? So my answer usually is yes, yes, and yes. So it's the LLM is a true, and I'm telling you this as someone who went through the same process a long time ago. The LLM is an incredible learning and networking opportunity. It's one of the best experiences you will have in your life. My wife tells me I should always say that our wedding was the best time of my life. It's not true. The LLM was the best time of my life, but don't tell her. And in general, first of all, it's okay not to know what's your field of specialization. Again, many of the schools here, and I think all of the schools here, have an LLM in American law, and the LLM in American law allows you to pick and choose and explore different subjects and get a feeling of different fields, and then make up your mind and maybe in the future specialize. And in terms of being able to study, yeah, I mean, it will be challenging if you're a single mother. You will have to study full time, but you will see, you will be supported by your school, you will be supported by the other international students. They will become basically your family. We had a few students who came to the US all by themselves, and they were pregnant when they started the LLM, and they delivered the baby right midterm during the LLM, and they were able to finish it. We were there for them. Everyone was there for them. So if that's your dream, if that's your goal, just do it. Just do it. And each one of us here, whether you're going to choose Loyola, whether you're going to choose another school, we're going to be here to help you and support you and make sure that you can fulfill these very important goals.
Yeah, I think I can answer Zarina's question. In order to stay in the United States after you graduate, you're going to need to be doing OPT, because OPT gives you status, a residency type of status in the United States. And to qualify to take a bar exam, at least I know it, for example, in Texas, and I think it's the same in New York, and you have to be able to establish that you have a residency right in the United States to be taking the bar exam. So the OPT you'll have to do, most of our students will apply for the OPT. You have 90 days or so in order to secure an OPT position, and most of the time, immediately after you graduate, you're going to start studying in a bar prep course, a commercial course to help you prepare for the bar and study all the courses that are tested. And then if you graduate in May, you can take a July bar. Most of the time you can take the bar again in February if you didn't pass the first time, or some of our students will actually wait and take a February bar because they want more than just 8 weeks to prepare for the bar exam. But you should assume OPT will overlap with taking a bar exam, and it won't be something that would begin after you finish the bar.
We do have a couple more questions. I don't know if anybody wanted to answer that, and then if not, we could wrap it up.
I can answer. Let's see if there is any other.
Well, let's see, the question that's there about how competitive a lawyer will I be studying the LLM compared to JD? You know, a lot of the questions we ask are common sense questions. You're going to be a lawyer in your own country, so you'll have your knowledge. You'll have 1 year of taking American law classes, and you'll be competing against people who are JDs, and they have 3 years of study, and English is their first language. So on the one hand, you would say you're at a disadvantage simply because of those things. On the other hand, anybody who comes and studies the LLM is already motivated, bright, intelligent, driven, and so much of how success is going to depend on how much you apply yourself. So I wouldn't let the fact that you're in the LLM program and you're not an American lawyer or JD keep you from pursuing that dream if your dream is to pass an American bar exam. And just realize that you're going to have to work really hard to overcome some of those challenges.
Yeah, and I would just add, Martin, to your comment, I don't know a JD student that doesn't take a prep course as well. So, you know, yes, you want to take the right courses, but I took the JD program, and after my first year, which was the set curriculum, I think I only took 2 additional bar courses in my 3 years. Because again, your learning analysis, you very much should practice writing, okay, especially for those practical parts of the exam where you get a, you know, list of things and have to actually write a brief. So writing and learning legal writing in the US style is very, very important. But again, everybody, every student, LLMs, JDs, they all take some type of bar prep course. So this is another factor too in the money investment, because those can cost anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000, right? So it's not just, oh, maybe I'll take the bar exam. It's, okay, I'm gonna maybe have to pay for admission to the bar. I'm gonna have to pay for a prep course. Maybe I have to steer away from my love of some other topic area, right? So I can get the 12 or 15 credits required, depending on if you're in, you know, New York or Connecticut, Texas, or wherever. Most of us follow the New York rule. So again, you know, think of those things, but don't think you're too far of an outlier in that sense. That I've had LLM students transfer into the JD program, but pass the bar before they even got their JD. You know, so it does happen, and it's about your timing. It's about your work ethic, what you want to put into it. But it's certainly, you know, and it's possible.
Well, I just wanted to give you a big thank you to all of you for giving this session. It was super informative. I hope all of the students learned everything that they needed to learn. So congrats to all of you. Thank you to everybody who joined us today. Remember that if you want to join the session with each of the universities, the links are here on the chat, so you can join later on. And I think if anybody else has anything else to say, we can wrap it up.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
And look forward to talking and answering other questions in the chats. Thanks.